Naam, bila shaka kama ilivyo ada kila siku ya Jumatatu kuanzia saa 3 kamili usiku hadi majira saa 4 ni wakati rasmi wa kupanda kwenye hili jukwaa la the final whistle whereby we are talking or we are having a chat about European football, and of course as we continue to await for the new season for the English Premier League, we talk about the FIFA Club World Cup that's ongoing in the United States of America. And right now we are at the knockout stages in the round of 16, whereby clubs like Chelsea have qualified for the quarterfinals. So who will make it to the semis and eventually to the finals? But also we'll be talking about or having a chat on the summer transfer window center, whereby some of the players have moved here and there. Chelsea have made their 4th signing, and of course Manchester still chasing for their 2nd signing, whilst Arsenal are chasing for their 1st official signing, but also Liverpool making their 3rd official signing, and of course some other couple of transfers here and there in Monaco at Ligue 1 Ufaransa, whereby Paul Pogba has signed for AS Monaco and Olivier Giroud is back in Europe with Lille in the Europa League next season. So that and much more, we'll be talking about also the new developments in the Premier League next season, because wako na mabadiliko mapya katika muda wa mapumziko ama hafta ukipenda msimu ujao wa ligi kuu soka taifa England. Hiki kipindi cha The Final Whistle, and it starts now live on Facebook, YouTube and LinkedIn alongside the Instagram Jason_Again. If you have any comment, you can let us know on the comment section. Just drop your comment there, because I've asked a simple question. Jurgen Klopp recently said that the FIFA Club World Cup is football's worst ever idea. Do you agree, and why? If it's a yes, why? If it's a no also, please let me know or let us know on the comments section. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and also thank you for my panelists here today, Derek, Sheriff, and Nis D. Kim. Derek is a United fan, Sheriff is an Arsenal fan, and Nis D. Kim is also a United fan. So I'm hoping we'll have a good conversation here about the transfer center and about also the FIFA Club World Cup. Welcome, guys, and I hope your weekend has been awesome. Derek.
Yeah, my weekend was good. Yesterday on the domestic league, we were able to see Gor Mahia being smashed by Nairobi United. So mine was good. I was happy because Gor Mahia were clobbered.
Okay, but your team is still suffering, still struggling to make its 2nd signing. But I hope that by the end of this week, you'll have made your 2nd signing. Sheriff, Arsenal, how are things? You're missing football, but how was your weekend?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me this chance to grace the show. It's been a while. Weekend yangu imekuwa poa. I thank God for everything. Nothing much, but I'm looking forward for a good show.
Thank you so much. Nis D. Kim, also welcome back after such a long break. I hope you've been well.
Yes, I've been well, Sagini. Thank you so much. Mine is just frustrations on our big team.
Yeah.
No more signings, and some people are making progress within hours, and they confirm a big signing. On the weekend was good.
Okay, that's great to hear. Mtazamaji, kama una swali ama kama una kauli kuhusu swali lililouliza kwamba je, matamshi yake kocha zamani wa klabu ya Liverpool Jurgen Klopp kuhusu kwamba wazo la kuwa na michuano pana ya FIFA Club World Cup kwamba ni wazo baya zaidi katika historia ya soka duniani, je, unakubaliana na kauli hiyo ama haukubaliani nalo? Niambie, na pia nipe sababu ya wewe kutokubali ama kukubali kauli yake mkufunzi zamani wa timu ya Liverpool FC, lakini pia timu ya Borussia Dortmund, anaitwa Jurgen Klopp. Tunaanzia hapo katika gumzo hilo, manake ni kwenye kombe la dunia la vilabu. Hapo sasa katika raundi ya mtoano, tushaingia katika raundi ya 16 bora, ambapo hapa unazungumzia kufuzu hatua ya robo, nusu na finali katika michuano hiyo ya FIFA Club World Cup. Already have Chelsea have already qualified for the quarterfinals alongside Paris Saint-Germain, but also Palmeiras have also qualified for the quarterfinals. We are waiting today to see if Inter will qualify when they face Fluminense from Brazil as from 10 p.m. this evening. But then, kocha wa timu ya Liverpool wa zamani Jurgen Klopp said the Club World Cup is the worst idea ever implemented in football. Derek, first of all, what is your reaction to this statement by Klopp?
Once again, thank you so much, Sagini. Jurgen Klopp is a phenomenal coach. We have seen him at Borussia Dortmund. We have seen him for around 8 seasons at Liverpool. He's a coach who knows what it takes to play football. But the moment I heard about this comment, I had somehow mixed reaction about the same, because I listened to his sentiment that he said it is the worst ever a decision FIFA has ever made. On one side, I want to agree with him, because we look at so many matches on the player side. So we look at the health of the players, that they're having so many matches. You can imagine a team that is participating in the domestic league, for example, Manchester United or Arsenal or even Liverpool. It is having a domestic league, it is having an FA, it is having Carabao. Then maybe you add on Champions League. Then at the end of the season, when we are expecting maybe the players to rest a little bit, you also give them another tournament. So on the health of the players, I want to believe it is not a good idea. Then again, on the other hand, also I look at these teams, they always have a very big squad. Like Manchester City or Manchester United, they have more than 35 players. So for me, I want to believe that players who have not been actively participating in the Premier League, they can also be given this opportunity to also explore and showcase their potentials. But again, the same Jurgen Klopp, his club was participating last season. So on equal measures, I can say it is a good or a bad decision. But again, it cannot be a bad decision, because we have had.
We've had what? Okay, Derek, as usual, when the show starts, he normally has issues. Okay, Sheriff, on your side, what's your take on this?
Thank you. First of all, I think the tournament has its own pros and cons. Na nikianza na pros ni, at least especially in our continent, most of the clubs like Mamelodi Sundowns, most of the successful clubs, especially those clubs which has been successful in the continental football, especially the likes of Mamelodi Sundowns, wameonyesha talent yao na wameonyesha game yao, especially ukiangalia venye walicheza against Palmeiras, as much as walikuwa knocked out, they are in Africa. I think ndio ile timu yenye imefunga mabao mengi sana. So ukiangalia venye wamekuwa kicheza mechi zao, it means like the football in Africa is growing, and we are heading in the right direction. But it showed the world that even in Africa we have good players, and we have clubs that are managed professionally. Now, on the other hand, I think it is going to affect players, and most of the players are going to burn out heading to the new season. Because ukiangalia venye some players already washaenda holiday, pre-season ni from now, I think ni 2 weeks from now, timu nyingi zitaanza pre-season 2 weeks from now ama 3 weeks from now. So you can see most of the players hawatakuwa na time ya kupumzika, meaning most of them are going to be prone to injuries. So welfare player haijaangaliwa sana, and I think hapo ndo Klopp anasema, ndo which personally I concur with him. Welfare player haijaangaliwa sana, rather than corporates and FIFA and UEFA and all those world football organizations wanaangalia about commercializing football to gain more money, but the welfare of players haijaangaliwa, and I think it's going to have an impact with the players, because kama saizi ukiangalia the age yenye players, most of the players are retiring, unapata most 90% ya players they are retiring wakifikisha 35. I think 35 no player anakuwa na retire, but initially when ukiangalia kitambo ulikuwa unapata player kwa 38, 39, and as much as that player has discipline yenye tunasemaga, like you check yourself what you are eating and your social life and everything, but saizi because of the the number of matches, ukiangalia kuna club football, kuna international football. Kama saizi ukiangalia kama UEFA, Europe wameongeza ile ito Europe whatever, Europe League ile ya nations are playing each other. So you find a player in a season, a player is playing almost 70 matches or more than 70 matches. Because ukiangalia kama EPL kuna 38 matches, ongeza FA, kuna Carabao, kuna Champions League hapo, kuna international matches. So in a season utapata a single player is playing over 70 matches. If that player gets an injury, chances zake za prolong career yake in the future zitamu affect. So I think it has its pros and cons, but I think they should have revised a different method, because ukiangalia hiyo tournament ni kubwa sana, and I think the way it's very long, it affect even the coming season for most of the teams, despite team nyingi zenye ziko hapo kama Chelsea, Man City kukuwa ziko na depth.
Okay, Nisdi Kim, as Sheriff anasema, and I also concur with him and also with Derek Jumba, because they're saying it in terms of players' welfare, it is harmful because players will be playing more matches without resting, and as per the laws of FIFA or as per the laws of the game, a player is supposed to rest at least 4 weeks before the next start of the next season. But if in case of this side, kidogo mapumziko yanakuwa mafupi kuliko inavyostahili kuwa. But if you look at last year, we had the Copa America, we also had the Euro. This year we have the FIFA Club World Cup, and next year we'll have FIFA World Cup, and at the same time we'll have the AFCON. So you see, there's no time for a player to rest. Yes, that's a tick, and we all agree to that. But look at the money factor and the aspect of what the teams are gaining this. How much is the winner going to get at this year's FIFA Club World Cup? Look at the competition itself, and what are the gains? Don't you think it's also something to consider?
Okay, thank you, Sagini. I think Sheriff amesema something to do with the pros and cons. And looking at this, I think the clubs are going to benefit more than the players. And I don't think the issue of burnout for the players is so much addressed in this, because I would have said the teams to check maybe their team B's, team C, reserves to play in that tournament. But I remember back, Al Hilal were looking so much to sign Bruno because they wanted the name to be like the image in that competition. So now, you nipatia another impression here. They're not actually looking more at the football, but the image of the club. They want to grow the club there. Okay, so this is bias and it's a bad competition. Looking at the stage, umepatia Mamelodi, the clubs in Brazil. Tumezijua, we have seen they have very good football, playing against the world titans in terms of clubs. I think it's also a good stage for them. But the way imestajiwa, I think it will affect so much the teams in the new year, because I'm looking at in the next 2 weeks, one end of pre-seasons, they must blend. You can see teams like Chelsea are doing so much and wanafanya vitu haraka because they want to sign players mostly to participate, also to play in the preseason. So I think for teams it's a gain, but for the players I think it's not really good. Where's the compare player amepumzika for like 1 month, and then another player who has played this whole month, in the next 2 weeks ameingia preseason, the league imeanza. So I would be amazed nikianza kuona players have hamstrings, unaona ligi ikianza pale mapema. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome back, Derek Jumba. You are not finished your point, but then let me ask a final question here on this issue. The FIFA Club World Cup, whereby, of course, after those sentiments by Jurgen Klopp, his rival initially, his counterpart at Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, alijaribu kumjibu akasema kwa maybe in November, December or January it will be a disaster. We are exhausted and the Club World Cup has destroyed us. But at the same time, Pep Guardiola says we are coaches. We cannot arrange for matches. We'll follow FIFA and UEFA and Premier League in whatever they decide to do with their league. So we are not in any way eligible or accountable of this, what is happening in the FIFA Club World Cup. So do you think Guardiola responded with the right sentiments, with the right words?
Of course, yes. Guardiola has all the rights, and I think he's saying so because he's still in the Premier League, and therefore he don't want to be seen as like somebody who is sabotaging what the FIFA is saying. But if I were the one, I would also say the same. But again, I want also to believe that Pep is looking at a way that the winner of this tournament is going to pocket around 100 million pounds. So that is a very good cash for any team, because nowadays we have things to do with the PSR rules and the FFP rules. So any team that is going to get this amount of money, it will be a very good money for their side. So Guardiola is okay to give those sentiments.
Right. On the comment section, please let me know what are your sentiments or your reactions on this issue. Pep Guardiola, of course, answering Jurgen Klopp's words that the FIFA Club World Cup is the football's worst ever idea. Do you agree with that, and why? Let me read some shoutouts before we cross over to the Premier League, and I can see Brayo, Rola, Ochieng Collins, Felix Charlo, Edwin David Texeira, Mutunga Edwin, Suzling Chege, and Kwanya Joshua. They are all watching live on Facebook. Na Kwanya anasema unahitaji Chelsea clubs like Chelsea surely huogopi potential winners ndugu. Bas pole sikujua. Anyway, let's cross over and talk about the Premier League, which will be starting officially on the 15th of August 2025 with a match pitting, is it Manchester or Liverpool? I don't know, but anyway, whichever the match is, that's the day when the Premier League will be resuming. Well, then, ahead of next season, Sheriff, there will be some new developments in this new season Premier League, whereby at halftime we'll be having interviews, and those interviews include players and coaches, and at the same time also on those developments, a journalist can also do an interview with a player who has been subbed off. So my question is, are these new developments coming at the right time, and what impact do they have to the Premier League, and is it right for them to have such developments?
Thank you, Sagini. I think from initially, personally, even I once said football is an emotional game, whereby we are supposed to enjoy football, and if you can see, like for example, if you can see the level VR has reduced the level of excitement in football. Has reduced the level of excitement in football because nowadays, especially when the goal seems controversial, players and fans are not sure whether they are going to celebrate or not. So the more they continue revolutionizing this game, I think saizi wanataka kutupeleka mahali if football itaenda ikae ni kama reso. Unaona venye reso like inakuwa scripted, because how can you do an interview in a match that is ongoing, it is ongoing, and you still have another, for example, 45 minutes if it's a Premier League, or if it's a cup competition or it's a knockout, maybe you go up to extra time. So personally, I think as much as we are supposed to embrace technology, there are things we are supposed to maintain. Like if there is interviews are supposed to be done after the match, so that players mentally can concentrate on that particular match, and we still go back to the corporate world, because you see that time when during the halftime, most of the corporates, they want to make the advertisement during that time. So unapata ladha ya game tunaipoteza because at the expense of clubs and FA making money, and I think this is where we are getting it wrong. And if we continue like this, I think kuna sports zingine zitakuja zipite football, because you see football inakuwa na kale ka phenomenal, like you have to anticipate, like, I don't know, sijui venye second half itakuwa, but huwezi niambia like my team which has a very weak captain in the name of Martin Odegaard akuje hapo anze kupeana briefing akisema venye ata lead hiyo team and in the first 45 minutes amekuwa missing, so you see it is not going to augur well with football. So personally I believe inafaa tu kubaki the same status quo, as much as wanasemaga change is as good as the rest, but kuna vitu zingine zinafaa tu kuremain hivyo.
Okay. Nisdi Kim, tumeona haya badiliko yakifanyika and them taking effect at the currently ongoing FIFA Club World Cup in the United States of America. And I know you've watched a couple of matches up until now in the round of 16. Have you seen it effective?
Okay, to me Sageni, vile Sheriff pia amesema, the more we're trying to put many things in the game, the more utamu wa game unaisha. I can say football was even more better when there was no VAR. VAR is trying to make players be perfect. We have seen errors with the VAR. The other thing Sheriff pia amesema, it's an emotion game. Imagine Sagini, it's a game between Manchester United and Arsenal. Maybe Bruno has been given a red card. Ameachia maybe the armband. Ameachia someone like Casemiro. So now you're calling Casemiro to interview him in halftime when maybe Manchester is 1 goal down. The game is full of reactions. The players walking to the referee, they're throwing hands, and then you want that player to talk to you and tell you how the match is. Of course, the tempo in games, I think the moments in the game that determine the kind of interview people will receive in that halftime. So I think it's a very bad idea. And I wonder, do they sit down and think about something before they say, like, let's implement this? Because I remember there was a time Mourinho was so much against the VAR. And he was mooted at Kandua, it has to go on. Everybody voted, like, let it be. But we have seen many errors which have brought ill feelings on the thing. Instead of working on the VAR, they are working on interviews at halftime. VAR, we can't say it's perfect. We have seen it has so much loopholes. Pale kwa backroom yao, we have seen that. Instead of them trying to make it better and at least watu wakue like, yeah, we can rely on VAR completely. They are now moving to something else when this is not working. So I really say it's a very bad idea. It's a very, very bad idea. Hebu imagine mtu kama Mourinho unaenda kumu-interview halftime when he has drawn hands to the referee. I think he'll just tell you, should I talk or I'll be banned or I'll face FA. Because he wants to speak what's in his mind and heart, but now he knows the FA or the governing body, wherever he is, itakuwa against him ama itakuwa after him after the match. So I think because of the emotions in the game, hata sisi kama mafans tunakuaga game ikisha, you're like, mi Bruno amefanya vibaya, mi Odegaard amefanya vibaya, because we can feel it. We love the game. Now these people are playing the game, and then you want to interview them when the game is going and maybe they are beaten. So I think that's a very bad idea, and I don't think it really works.
Okay, Derek, come to think of it in this angle about the fans' perspective. Of course, when the game is going on at halftime, a fan will normally want to get to know what's happening on and off the pitch. A fan will want to know in the second half, how will they approach the game, okay? So don't you see it as an added value or as an advantage that the fans will get an opportunity to get to know what their coach is planning for the second half, what a player is thinking about the first half, what a player will be doing or will be correcting in the second half?
To me, I don't want to think that way, Sagini, because during that 15 minutes break, I want to believe that we as fans, we should be having that question, like we should be speculating what is it that the coach is going to do, because we understand in a game of football, you have 90 minutes. So 45. In between, we are going to have 15 minutes break. So it is my role, or it will be okay with me as a fan, to keep on speculating. Maybe my coach is going to bring on somebody. That speculation, hiyo ndio inaleta utamu wa game. But this issue of interviewing players or having even cameras going to the dressing room, for me also, I want to dispute it. It is not a good idea. They are bringing so many things in the football world, of which, when you look at it, it loses that morale of watching football. And also, after the game, we as fans, we also want to discuss what took place during the match. So in this case, I think if there is a decision that they have also to review, it is this one. It is not a good idea, and it is going to bring so many controversials. However, I watched some La Liga matches. I want to believe, La Liga matches, whereby immediately after first half, you see a camera running to a certain player, maybe to get their reactions. This one will only apply to players who are mature enough and who can be able to maybe calm down their nerves or even their frustrations. You can imagine a player like Garnacho or even Rashford has been subbed off. Then you want to interview him. See, definitely you are going to get a kick there. Yeah. Or remember those times when you used to have a player like Mario Balotelli. Imagine he has been subbed by Pep. Then you want to interview him immediately. Football is a game of frustration. I'm going to be frustrated. In fact, I'm going to punch your camera away. So to me, it is not a good idea.
All right. Sheriff, as Derek puts it, that it's currently we just witnessed the game. Sheriff, as Derek says that it's currently in use in La Liga for last season, and we've seen the same thing happening at the FIFA Club World Cup at the moment, the USA. Means the Kim didn't answer my question correctly, and I want you to answer it. You've watched some matches in the FIFA Club World Cup at the moment. Have you seen that change effective at the FIFA Club World Cup, and what effect has it had on players, fans, and teams at the current ongoing FIFA Club World Cup in the US?
Thank you, Sagini. What I'd like to say is, football is a game of emotions, and the people who are propagating this method to be used, especially in the Premier League, I'm sorry to say this is as a result of most of these bigger clubs in England are owned by American owners, and those American tycoons are still the ones who are the owner of NSL, NSL, those American football, NFL, and basketball. So most of them are the owners of those successful basketball teams and NFL. So I think I'm not surprised when FA wants to go that direction. But personally, I've not. I think it's inatoa ladha kwa game. Sababu you see kuna venye player like when ukiangalia hizi documentary unasikiaga kina Roy Keane, kina Gary Neville, kina Thierry Henry, those players who had caliber wakisema they go in the dressing room and they sit down and the manager does not utter even a single word. It is them. Wewe Sagini venye unacheza uchezi poa. Mbona unakubali Pireza kupita hapo na wewe ni Gary Neville? Mbona unafanya hivyo? Like walikuwa wanatoa hiyo emotion wanaileta hiyo emotion. But because hapa unajua kuna kitu inaitwa social bullying, you still want to be an ambassador of Nike and these major brands. So you'll have to behave like a gentleman. And I think ndo maana nilisema wanaileta football it's more of a scripted. Again, uwezi kama manager uwezi peleka kamera hapo na maybe manager ndo anaeleza tactics zake and the players to bring on vis-a-vis the opposition pia wanafanya hivyo. So ni kumaanisha hii game unataka ikue more predictable kuliko venye like football is supposed to be game of emotions, and pia acha nitumie the word mystery ndo to see predict results. So personally sioni ikisaidia anything, but I think inapoteza ladha ya game.
Okay, great. Hapa kwenye comment section, one fan called Brayo Roller anasema these developments are just like the VR. It's making the game to be boring. They are slowly killing the joy the games used to provide. You had something to say, Nisdi Kim, before you cross off the transfer window center?
Oh yes, I have to say something about the that interview before halftime. Okay, at halftime. You see, there are games that a certain player can have. We call them a bad day in office. Like, sorry to bring this up, but there was a time I was watching game with Arsenal fans, and they were so much criticizing their captain Odegaard, like he's having a very bad play, because they believed when a player like Ranieri is brought in, he changes the game. Even in the time PSG, they were like, Sasa, who you are talking? You see, now because Odegaard is the captain, now you're giving that player the interview. You're interviewing the player at halftime when the fans think that he's the cause why they are losing. Maybe ameuza back pass mbili ama moja, and then you give the player. I think you're also bringing so much pressure on the player, or some tension with the fans and the player, because a player will be like, we want to change this game. These guys are playing a pressing game, and then the fans will be like, how are you play? How do you think it's a pressing game when you are not attacking? So it will have, I think it will have different fronts, and it will bring some tension with the fans and the players, because okay, FIFA World Cup, it's not so much competitive. Let me say it's just like a league, ni kama kama build up. But now looking at EPL, ni game ya Man City na Man U, alafu maybe Maguire amepeana back pass ameuza, and then you want to tell me now you're going to interview Maguire to ask him how the game was, and then the fans in the media in X, they are criticizing the same thing. So then there will be a tension within the players and the fans.
Okay. Okay. I know it will be such a controversial issue, or such a controversial topic to discuss about. So we'll wait to see how everything will unfold for next season, the English Premier League, whereby whether it will be effective or not effective. But then we leave it at that point. If you have any comments on or say any sentiments, please feel free to drop your comment, and we'll be putting it here on air. Now let's cross over to talk about the transfer center, whereby clubs like Chelsea have already made their fourth signing, and today they signed Joao Pedro from Brighton of Albion. But then again, I'll start it from Arsenal FC, whereby Thomas Partey this week was confirmed to have left Arsenal for a free transfer after spending, I think, 3 years at Arsenal. First of all, how does it feel that you're losing Thomas Partey, Sheriff, as an Arsenal fan? You mute yourself. You mute yourself again. Yeah, you're okay now.
Okay. Like I've always said, I'm always critical of Arsenal and the way Arsenal times make their decision. Some of the fans think because I'm critical about Arsenal, I'm not a real fan. But I normally tell them I'm a real fan, because even if Arsenal won the Premier League, I saw it even if I was a young boy. So at least I witnessed Arsenal winning the Premier League. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. I think if you see the decision that was made by, let me say, by the board and by the manager, if we signed that, there is rumors that, I think if it is true, because he is yet to be unveiled, we signed the Brentford captain. Send him for 11 million pounds.
Yeah.
That's no good. Ukiangalia hiyo pesa yenye tulimtumia vis-a-vis Thomas Partey, right now he was being paid 200,000 pounds per week. Even if tungeenda tuongee na yeye tumwambie tutamlipa 220, even for two years with an extension of 1 year, it will have been a viable decision, because we could have gone and he could have given us, because we had already signed Zubimendi. atupatie kama nini ya 1 year, then any Saudi club would come and will sell him rather than let him walk scot-free, and maybe you see him going to a rival club who is going the club which is going to match his wages, and then uone akiperform huko. So personally, I think Arsenal, we are very weak at selling our players, but we are so good at signing players, and ile shida ya Arsenal tumia, because hatushindi trophies, tuna entice those players na do, and I think that is where the problem is.
Okay. Derek, Arsenal letting Thomas Partey leave. Thomas Partey is 32 years of age. Norgard at Brentford, he is 31 years. So you let Thomas Partey go for free, then you sign another 31-year-old for around 20 million. Hit or miss?
To me, it's a miss, because a full fit Partey is something else. A full fit Partey is a very good player, because we have seen the impact that Partey has put in, especially when it comes to Champions League. Partey really put on a very good show, and you'll agree with me that midfield, Partey and Rice, it was a very good combination. But now look at what maybe transpired and has led to this transfer. I was reading somewhere, and it was like it was an issue of the sporting director plus the sporting director with the agent of Thomas Partey, because at one point we are meant to understand that the agent of Partey had an issue with the sporting director of Atletico Madrid when Thomas Partey was at Atletico Madrid. So I think what has necessitated to this transfer is just about the backroom issues of which we might not be known. But to me, I think Arteta was in good terms with the Partey, and it is not a good decision that Thomas Partey is leaving. Arsenal will miss him. For real, they'll miss him, because they know the impact that Thomas Partey has been having in that team, especially last season.
Okay, great. Let me go to Nisdikim. Nisdikim, as a United fan, Thomas Partey leaving, but of course your club are still trying to negotiate a deal for Cameroonian forward, that is Brian Mbeumo, who a second offer was submitted and it was rejected by Brentford, and they want almost around 75 million pounds for Brian Mbeumo to sign for Manchester United from Brentford. First of all, do you believe this guy is more worthy than 65 million pounds?
Honestly, no. Actually, I was talking to my friends about the way Manchester United do their transfers, and I have seen how bad we are when it comes to the market. Because taking us back, we go to the time Ole Gunnar wanted to sign Anthony. He said himself that, and the scouts, that the market value for Anthony was 25 million pounds. But we ended up buying him at 80 million pounds. I think there's a problem with Manchester when it comes to market. Even like getting a person like Wilcox, I thought this narrative is going to change. But now looking at Mbeumo, these people know he's not okay. Brentford know he's not worth 75, because me looking at 75 million is a very, very good player, not a player who has only just played EPL, maybe FA, maybe Carabao, not played European football, not played Champions League. For 75 million, I think it's a no. So I think, to me, Mbeumo can be worth 55 million. He's been good. He's been excellent last season, but he's not worth 75 million. He's had 2 good seasons. By the way, I really love that guy. But for 75 million, I think they're just testing waters, because they know Manchester United right now is very desperate. They need someone on the upfront. They really need him. They can sign anybody, because maybe the coach or the board had said like we need this guy. But for 75 million, I think we made a mistake last time. We bought Holland for I think 67 million because we had that he's good, he's worth this. Then we split the money and said, yeah, bring him. He flopped. I'm not saying Bremer is going to flop, but the teams when they hear the word Manchester, is it City or United? They just say like this guy is worth this much. But I think that price for Mbeumo is really exaggerated. He's a good player, but I think they're trying to milk Manchester United.
Okay, because they
And
know
on the
Manchester
issue of
is
party,
yes. All right. Yeah. Please quick because time is not
yeah,
on our
on
side.
yes, on the issue of party, I think the first thing looking at them bringing Zubimendi, I think maybe Ateta considered something and said, let me try something different this time. I looked at Partey as a more as a sitting defensive midfielder, but looking at Norgard, he is a presser. So maybe Ateta chose maybe let me do things different this season. Let me bring in Zubimendi, and maybe if I let Partey go, I can use Norgard to press and maybe give some attacking catalyst to my midfielders and maybe my forwards. So I think it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. It just depends on how Ateta is going to use him next season. Partey is good defensively, but Norgard is so good to press. He can press a team. That guy, when I see him as a Manchester United fan, I'm like, yeah, leo ni kubaya. Kubaya. He'll press Casemiro apotee kabisa.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yes.
Sheriff, about Brian Mbeumo. Brentford want more than 65 million pounds. Are they realistic in their business?
Honestly, my Swahili teacher, na wewe najua ni Mswahili, alikuwa anasema mgala muwe na haki yake mpe. No one knew Brian Mbeumo before he came to Brentford. And they have made him the player who he is. Kama huku Kenya nasikiaga politicians wakishinda wakisema kuna kitu inaitagwa value addition, wakiongea mambo ya manufacturing, zote wachane na hiyo. Now, I think this is what Brentford has done to Mbeumo. They wamefanya hiyo kitu inaitagwa value addition. Again, they know Manchester United where they are. Manchester United is no longer the club that was, and here I'm not bantering, I'm saying the facts. Is no longer the club that was ati sagini ungesikia Manchester United inakutaka you issue kitu ilikuwa inaitwa transfer request and unagoma una strike kwenda training. They are no longer that. And Manchester United and Arsenal, they are suffering the same. They are not winning trophies, but at least you guys have won two trophies. But they are no longer attractive because the only way you can attract players is by being exploited by other clubs, buying players that are not worth the amount that you are buying them. Number two, you start dishing out salaries that eventually will come and catch up with you. And this is what has happened to Manchester United in the nearest future, and is currently happening to Arsenal. So personally, I don't think Brian Mbeumo even is worth 50 million, but Manchester United, because they are desperate and they really want to be deemed like the big club they were, lazima watafika hiyo bei. I don't think they'll buy him for 75, but watambuy kitu 60 hapo. But if they sign him, he's a very good player and he's going to add value and in quality in that attacking lineup.
Okay, great. Derek, as Sheriff says that he doesn't think that Mbeumo is worthy more than 50 million. So you, as a United fan, would you pay more than 65 for Mbeumo, or at the moment choose to go for another player? Where has Derek gone again? Okay, my goodness. Okay, anyway, Nisdikim, just answer me that question in one sentence. Would you rather pay 65 million at the moment or more, or would you rather go for another player?
Okay, right now, the caliber of a player that Mbeumo is, I don't think there's a player you can compare with Mbeumo right now. Looking at the market, the players that are available, I think Mbeumo fits that caliber of a player that Manchester United really wants. A pressing, skilled, good on the ball player, can score from anywhere. So I think that's why they are really being exploited. But for that much right now, I think that's why they are stuck to Mbeumo. We need Mbeumo. We need Mbeumo. There's no player
Yeah.
who has that quality. And I think they're saying this because they know Manchester United say they want a player who has some experience in the EPL, who is
Okay.
not like
So
coming and we are like,
all right.
nope.
All right. Dero. So will you go for another player or pay more than 65? That's the question.
If I get a player with the same caliber as Mbeumo,
Yes.
I could go for him if it's cheaper. But for right now, there is no player I can say fits that uh, thing. Maybe
Okay.
football wise, yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes, Sheriff.
Sagini, 1 minute. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Kvaratskhelia alienda PSG na 60 million pounds. Ukiulizwa between
Imagine.
Kvaratskhelia na Mbeumo, unaweza enda nani?
At the
Kuna
moment,
kitu
I'll go
inaitwa
for
bargaining power. Sorry?
I'll go for Vicha.
Unaweza enda nani?
Vicha.
Thank you. Because the quality of the player. But none of the England teams wanaweza msign, and Napoli walikuwa wanamdiscard because they wanted to balance their books.
Yeah, sure. Derek, you are a United fan. At the moment, you said that Mbeumo is not worthy more than 65 or worth even 50 million. At the moment, would you pay more than 65 or go for another player? And which player is this that you will go for? Because Vicha is not available.
I've just listened to the discussion from my colleagues. Hey, this.
Okay, Derek, as usual, has issues with his phone. We go live. But anyway, we'll cross over to Arsenal. Let me come back to you, Sheriff, whereby your club is also again still chasing for other signing here. And this guy, this time round, this somebody called Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace. Will he be of any importance to you guys?
Extremely. Extremely. Say if we sign Eberechi Eze, number one, that guy has showed his quality. And I'm going to say something that I know most of the Arsenal fans who are deluded, they will say, I don't know football. Eberechi Eze is a better number 10 than Martin Odegaard. If you see how he's been playing for the last 2 seasons, it tells you the quality and the caliber of the player he is. Mentally, he has shown us he's a winner, because if you saw the way he played last season in that FA final against Man City, it tells you this is a player who can glide past defenders, who can shoot. He has a good first touch of football. He has a vision to pass the ball. I think he's a complete number 10 who needs a new challenge, considering I think he's going to stay somewhere in the Crystal Palace history as one of the best players who performed in that FA Cup final. So personally, even if they're going to sell him 80 million pounds, Arsenal, go for him. He's going to improve our squad. Again, he can also play on the flanks, but signing him personally, I'll put him as a number 10. But I know our manager, the way he's stubborn as usual, and the way he always wants to be Mr. Right, I know he's going to put him in that wing. But the first thing, if we sign him, he's going to improve our squad.
Okay. Yeah. He's going to improve your squad. I won't dwell so much on Eberechi Eze. I want us to cross over and talk about Chelsea, because we only have like 8 minutes left before you wind up the show. So we'll cross over straight to Joao Pedro, who was signed for Chelsea, becoming the 4th signing for Chelsea this season after signing a couple of players. And you're talking about some players like Jamie Bino Gittens from BVB, that's Borussia Dortmund, but also William Estiviao from Palmeiras of Brazil, and Liam Delap from Ipswich. And currently they're also exploring options to sign Giovanni Quenda from Sporting Lisbon, who will be joining in the year 2026, that is next year. So how crucial or how important will Joao Pedro be for the Blues and Maresca at Chelsea next season, Derek?
This phone ni nini mbaya sasa?
Pole ndugu. This Dikim, how will Joao Pedro be important for Chelsea?
Actually, before I answer this, Sagili,
Yes.
I'm wondering how many players is Chelsea buying? Is
How many
Chelsea
players?
buying? Because how many players is Chelsea buying? Because I can see a full squad. I can see the bench. Then I can see more additions up front. I even saw a rumor today that Arsenal are considering a move for Jackson. I don't know if it's true or just rumors, because the players are there. Joe Pedro, the only thing he's going to bring to Chelsea, ni ule uzoefu wa EPL. He's good. I've seen him play against let me say big six. He's so good. But now, look at the Chelsea. Look at the attack. Ngongo was a good player back there at Leipzig. But now look at him at Chelsea. He's a flop. To me, he's a flop. He's not getting minutes, number one. So Joao Pedro is here, who one is injury prone. We have Jackson. We have now Gittens. We have Madueke. We have Neto. Like, who's going to play and where is he going to play? The big question is, are Chelsea really looking at the way they're going to waste the players? Because I'm so sure if Pedro plays 2 good games, Ngungu will be forgotten. If Neto plays a bad game, and maybe Joe Pedro plays this game, Neto will be forgotten. I know it's good for the team depth, but I think having some consistent, maybe a fast starting 11, a consistent one, maybe like Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal, I think gives a team some more confidence. But now, me nimetrain this week, but najua Gittens anaanza. Nimetrain hii wiki yote, alafu najua Jackson ataanza. So I think there's going to be a commotion to that team. There's going to be a lot of commotion in that team. I think Joao Pedro is a big mistake. Again, Newcastle, because I can see some people there will be like leaving, but Chelsea, no. I think that's a bad idea for him. I don't know where he fits, honestly.
Okay, great. Let me go to Derek because he's having issues. I hope we'll find him right now smoothly. Joao Pedro has just signed for Chelsea, and actually he flew today to the US to join Chelsea to finalize his medicals ahead of his debut at the currently ongoing FIFA Club World Cup. How crucial and essential will Joao Pedro be for Chelsea next season?
Joao Pedro is not going to be special. We have seen this. I just want to agree with my panelists that Chelsea and Manchester United, they are having just one kind method of assigning players. So what is it that they have seen in Joao Pedro? Okay, I'm not disputing, or I won't say that Joao Pedro is not a good player, but it's like Chelsea, they're just doing business for the sake of business. 4 players right now. They had a squad of more than 40 players last season. What did they do with it? Who still remembers that Chelsea has Sterling? So Joao Pedro, to me, it is just another kind of Jackson Mandago. Sorry to say so, but another Jackson Mandago. Another Jackson Mandago in making. Because look at his contribution at Brighton. It is just an average kind of contribution. So with Nkunku, Jackson, and Who else? I don't see Chelsea flourishing that much.
Of course, Chelsea at the moment, when they sign, that is Joao Pedro from Brighton of Albion. If you look at the transfers that Chelsea have done, or business they've done with Brighton, this becomes the fifth signing for Chelsea from Brighton. Remember Cucurella Mark, 63 million pounds. Graham Potter and plus staff, 22 million pounds. Robert Sanchez, the goalkeeper, 25 million pounds. Moses Caicedo, 115 million pounds, and now Joao Pedro for 60 million pounds, a total whooping cash of 285 million pounds for Chelsea business doing with Brighton Hove Albion. But then, what are some of the qualities for Joao Pedro when you look at him as a player, Sheriff?
Thank you. I think Joao Pedro is a very good player. Given despite the season he had last season, he had a mixed season considering he had injuries. But if he can be a consistent player and he can be given consistent match games, he can produce goals, because we have seen he has scored against Arsenal last season, he scored against Liverpool, he scored against Newcastle, and I think also he scored against Manchester United, if I'm not wrong. So he's a very good player. But the problem is he has made a move to the wrong club. I don't think he's going to progress from Chelsea. At Chelsea, I don't see him progressing. If he had gone to if he had stuck at Brighton or gone to another team like Newcastle, the way Newcastle wanted him, I think it could have been an added advantage for him. Because if you see the likes of Madueke was one of the best players when he was signed, coming from Eredivisie at PSV. He had the potential, and you could see the way he was playing. Christopher Nkuku at Bundesliga, he was in the team of the season before Chelsea signed him. So you see Chelsea, because of the turnover of managers, and of which I highly doubt whether Enzo Maresca is going to finish the coming season. It is very hard for these young players to progress, because these players need consistency to play games so that they can gain experience. So Joao Pedro as a player, he's a very good player because he can play across the front line, but I don't see him progressing fast. Yes, he will progress, but I don't see him progressing as fast as he would have been if angeenda kwa team yenye like is going to be kind of a main man. Like personally, I can say this. You see the way Manchester United have signed Cunha. Tutaona a different player saizi, as long as the manager at a play.
I also lose Sheriff there, but I think his point is well put across. And on that note, we get to the climax of this show today. But then let me finish this show or wind up this show by reading one comment. Last comment here made by a fan called James Kimar, who says maybe Manchester United, instead of paying 65 for Mbeumo, they should go for Gyökeres and pay between 70 and 80 for Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon. Remember, these two are not playing the same number, so it might not work. But then let's see how things will unfold at the end of the transfer window. Center Sheriff, you are making a point. Please finish it before we wind up the show.
Yeah, I was saying Matheus Cunha is going to be a very good signing for Manchester United. So I personally believe he's going now to make an impact, and he's going to improve, considering the caliber of the club he has just signed in. And if you see the players, he's going to have a lot of playtime, so hence improving himself as a player. Vis-a-vis compared to Pedro kutakuwa na issues hapo, because there are so many young players in that team. Hakuna players wako experienced, all of them wako the same, and then kuna ile pressure ya kutaka kujiprove kwa team. So personally, yes, is a good player, but kuprogress kwa Chelsea atakuwa a bit stagnant kuliko vinyangeenda timu nyingine.
Alright, kufikia hapo niseme asante mabingwa kwa kutenga muda kuzungumza nasi leo. Nina kipindi. Unasemaje Derek? Una kauli gani tena?
Just 1 minute. I wanted to comment something about Bryan Mbeumo. Bryan Mbeumo is a very good player, but mimi nilikuwa nataka Manchester waende tu hapo Newcastle wanilete Alexander Isaac. a player who will give you more than 20 goals. Aki,
Yes.
for real, this one would be a very good compact with Matas Cunha. Aki, for real. But I don't know what they are seeing in Brian Mbeumo, but pale Alexander Isak angekuwa moto sana pale Manchester United.
Lakini Derek, if 65 million is not enough to get Mbeumo, do you think even 80 will be enough to get Isaac? I think if you go for Isaac now, you'll be asked for 150. Which I know
Isaac
you won't
hata
take. Yes.
Isaac hata tukilipa mia than Mbeumo is not even 30. Aki, for real.
Okay.
Manchester United, that is a very bad business, for real.
Okay, Nis, as you wind up.
Derek, okay, I need to say something to Derek. We're looking at Isaac Alexander. He's a very good player. I can see very, very good player. But I think Manchester, we have seen when we get a player, we can put like a point man in the same like Hoyland. Matheus Cunha can play along the front line. Mbeumo can play the same. Can play as a 9, can play as a winger, can play as a maybe a 10. No. But now Isaac will go as a striker. We have seen Tulibai kama Holland. All that money was put on his head, but he can't score. So me, I think I'll be more happier if, for example, we get Mbeumo and we have Matheus Cunha. Then let me just say, Matheus Cunha tupatie bao 10, Mbeumo tupatie bao 15, Bruno atupatie bao 20. Unaona? Then mtu kama Zaxi atupatie bao 5 and maybe Amar atupatie bao 10. How many goals are those? That's almost 40 goals. But now looking at Isaac as the point man, it's like you. Okay, I don't know. Ni kama niko na fear after us buying Hoyland and then he flopped totally. I want players who can blend and score goals freely, more than a player we are looking so much for him to score. If he can't score, we are done. Look at Manchester City. If Haaland does not score, the other players score.
All right. Okay. Umesema Zaxi bao 5, Bruno bao 20. Haya.
20. Haya, Cunha nipatie 15, Mbeumo nipatie 15. Nipatie Ahmad 10. How many goals are those?
Haya.
That's almost 50 goals.
Simu jao utaamua kama itakuwa hivyo au la. We are out of time, guys. Let's wind up. Yes, Sheriff. Yes.
So, just one minute as we wind up. Nimesikia Nisa amesema haizi taka kusign Alexander Isak, anataka wale players wana score 10 goals, 5 goals, 3 goals. Akanikumbusha tukiwa kwa hood, najua tukifunga shule tukiwa high school, kuna wale madem tulikuwa tunaona kwa estate. Like dem ni msupu, lakini unajua uizi fika bei. Hata nifanye nini, siwezi fika bei. Sasa Nis na yeye hapo hapa anajua Alexander Isak is a very good player, but it's only that Manchester United is not in a position to sign him. Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you for making that point. That's the simple point of saying. No. We will try to give you
again 1 point, please. A minute.
Everybody's making 1 point.
Sheriff. Okay, 1 point. Let me talk to Sheriff. Sheriff, the much goals Isaac can score, let me give him at most 30 goals. And this depends so much on the type of creative midfielder or wingers he has. Right now, Manchester United, we have Ahmad, and I don't know, maybe Garnacho is gone, or maybe Rashford will come. So I don't know how. But now, if we can score, venye nimesema, 10 goals, Bruno 20 goals, Zaxi 15 goals, I prefer that because we can produce more goals, more than looking at a player to score those goals when we know our problem is not actually the scoring, is who is there to capitalize on those.
Nimfunze football. Aniambie ni timu gani ishaishinda ligi bila leading striker. hiyo ni
Very
assignment
right.
nimempea.
Okay, let me
Aende ata
Okay, that's an assignment.
okay,
Needs
share it.
Kim on that
Hebu
note.
nikuulize.
No. Needs Kim on that note. We'll wind up the show. We are out of time. So next week we'll come back and we start from there. And that, guys, has been your final whistle.